Hello, everyone, and welcome inside Upon Further Review with B-Marsh and Michael, presented as always by WinBet. Glad to have you with us for a special edition of the show today. We are live in person, doing it together, man. It's good to have you in Denver. Hey, we're going to get right into it with what's on B-Marsh's mind because you were at the game yesterday. What an awesome, awesome moment that was. What's on B-Marsh's mind, presented by First Bank, banking for good. How cool was it for you to be back out in Mile High Stadium yesterday?
No, it was amazing. First of all, shout out to Patrick Smythe for giving me field passes. Shout out to CBS for getting me in the suite. I felt like, like a baller. I felt special. It was amazing. I got the field pass, right? And so I was on the field, and as I'm walking, and I wasn't sure if, fans would recognize me or whatever. I had a beanie on.
You had the beanie on too? Yeah, you were kind of
I had some glasses, in disguise, exactly. But they all recognized me, man. Everybody, was calling out my name, and I was signing autographs like it was old times. And, I had no issue with it. People that were with me was like, oh, well, you want me to? No, I'm good. I'm going to sign the autographs because, Broncos country still loves me. The fans appreciate me, and they tell me all the time that, they appreciate my time here, and they thought I was one of the better guys that played for the Broncos on the defense. So it was amazing for me.
Well, it was cool, and I was actually up in the press box kind of watching you meander on the field before the game, and I thought it was cool that you have that type of relationship with Broncos country and that you got to feel that love.
Right.
And especially on a day like yesterday where everybody was mourning the passing of Demaryius Thomas, and we'll talk more about that in a minute, but I thought you came up in the suite, right? And there was a lady in the suite, and she's a major Broncos fan, major Broncos fan, yelling all the time, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. She walked past, and I said, hey, did you meet Brandon Marshall?
Right.
Dude, she about fell over. Like, did you see it? I literally had to reach and make sure that she wasn't about to fall over. Yeah. And I thought that was such a cool moment for her, and it had to be a cool moment for you to see that. And I thought that's a really cool deal because you made a big deal coming to our shows at the View House when we did them at the View House and we're live in person, and you were always out in the community and always giving back, and so I thought it was cool that Broncos country had a chance to show you that love yesterday.
Yeah, it was like a warm hug. You know what I mean? I come back, I'm in Vegas for a couple years, and I decide I finally want to come to a game. I think I'm finally ready to come to a game, and because it's really emotional for me.
Yeah.
Because I've been playing football since I was 8, right? I played from 8 to 30, so that's 22 years of my life. And so to not be doing the very thing that I loved and I was so passionate about, and I put my body on the line for, was kind of tough for me. So I finally said, you know what? I think I'm kind of like moved past a certain threshold, and Broncos country welcomed me with a big hug, man. So. And I've been to a couple Raiders games, but I don't have the same feeling for the Raiders. I just don't. But Denver is different for me.
Was it tough? I mean, was it tough to be on the field? Because I know there's part of you that still wants to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was it tough to be there and see the guys who were in your spot?
Yeah, I saw Josie. I know he's hurt, right? I saw AJ. Guys that I know though. As far as Justin Simmons and Shelby Harris. Seeing those guys, I'm like, yo. I was just with these guys, right? It feels like yesterday almost. So that was definitely tough, and I see all the trainers and the coaches. I talked to my linebacker coach. I've seen Elway, and I talked to Elway, and I'm like, yo.
Hit me up.
Yeah,
Hit me
up. What I'm saying? Come on. I can go. If y'all need help, all right, just call me. I'm going to be in the suite, 208, okay?
No, that's cool. That's cool. And, I know you had already planned on coming to the game.
Yeah.
And then obviously Thursday we find out about the passing of Demaryius Thomas, and so I know you had a chance to go to the memorial. You had a chance to see what they did on the field. What did you make of the way that Broncos country reacted to that? Man, I got goosebumps now just talking about it.
100%.
It was emotional for me, and I didn't even know him nearly as well as you guys did, who were his former teammates. What did you make of that yesterday?
It's crazy because I was initially supposed to come to the Bengals game. I wanted to see the Jamar Chase and the Joe Burrow. I wanted to see that game. I thought it was going to be exciting. And then my schedule didn't permit, so I had to, redirect and go to a Lions game I didn't even necessarily want to see. And then that happened on Thursday. And it's funny because my mom texted me yesterday. She was like, this was the game you were supposed to be at, right? And, Thursday when I found out the news, man, my heart was just pounding out of my chest. It was beating fast. And because I'm like, yo, no way. No way. Somebody who is so influential and such a good spirit. So being on that field yesterday and and seeing, you know, the memorial, the 88 they put on the field, and just the love that, you know, everybody had for Demaryius. You know, everybody has it for him. I had people hit me up. I didn't even know that knew Demaryius. Like, yo, I'm so sad. He was such this type of guy, and it's all positive.
Yeah,
it's all positive. People love Demaryius. I love Demaryius. He was somebody who, and I'm not a guy that typically like hung out with a lot of my teammates. To be honest with you, I had a select few, and I just kept it to that. But Demaryius was a special individual, man, and you could see him and see the light shine through him.
Yeah,
the type of guy he was.
Yeah, you guys had a special bond too, because when everything was happening with the national anthem, and you weren't coming out on the field, DT decided to stay back. And tell me if I'm wrong here. To me, and in talking to DT about that afterward, DT did that for you. Okay. And he did it to support his teammate and his friend as much as he did to send a point about what you guys were doing with the national anthem. What did that mean to you? Because you sent out that picture on Thursday night when you got the news. What did it mean to have him stay back there with you and be there with you as you were going through that?
You know what? I feel like it was opposite.
Really?
Because, you know, I took my knees in 2016, right, for half the season, and I stood up. Then 2017, you know, there was nothing except when Trump called us, you know, SOBs, right? The beginning of 2018, I think Vance Joseph was still the coach. He had a meeting with, you know, some of the captains and whatever, most influential players on the team, and we had a come to Jesus moment, a powwow of what we're gonna do. And so people say, yo, I'm good with, you know, being out for the anthem and everything. So after that, DT pulled me to the side, and he was like, yo, B, I just feel like I want to do something, right? This is out of his mouth. He said, I just want to do something. And, you know, whatever he was feeling strongly about at that time, you know, I had already passed, you know, my time of doing that.
Right.
But I know what it felt like to be by myself doing it. So, you know, for him to come to me and say he want to do something, he's ready to make some sort of demonstration or whatever, and then we spoke about different things. I say, okay, you know what, I'll do it with you. You know, I'll do it with you because I know you want to do that. But I had already did my time, essentially, right? So it was really DT.
Yeah.
And so, you know, maybe he felt like he wanted to support me, and because he couldn't or he didn't back in 2016. But yeah, man, I did it for him, to be honest with you. And so then it came to a point where I forgot what happened, to where it was like, okay, you know what, let's come out, let's just come out, you know. But yeah, I mean, when he came to me with that, so I feel like it was opposite.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not sure what he said or anything, but that's what he told me. He came to me with that, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna do this for you.
That's cool. Yeah. That's cool. You guys have a special bond, and I thought the way that Broncos country handled yesterday, and the way that the team handled yesterday, going out there with 10 men on the first play and taking the delay game. Shout out to the Lions for declining that, and what a special moment that was yesterday, and what a special man Demaryius Thomas was, no doubt about that. Hey, when we come back on Upon Further Review with B-Marsh and Michael, presented by WynnBET, we will talk about yesterday's game, a lot to get into, including a dominating performance, and the two running backs, the two-headed monster, proves to prevail. We got Team Javonte over here, Team Melvin over here. We'll talk more about that when we come back right here on Upon Further Review with B-Marsh and Michael, presented by WynnBET. Welcome back inside Upon Further Review with B-Marsh and Michael, presented as always by WynnBET. Glad to have you with us here on CBS in Denver. Appreciate you listening and tuning in wherever you may be joining us. B-Marsh, let's talk about yesterday and the football game and the running game in particular. And it was, man, I tell you what, it was so fun for me watching a game with you. And of course, we're kind of going back and forth. Melvin, Javonte, right? Melvin leads him down on the first drive, and then Javonte gets into the end zone. I'm like, look, Melvin wouldn't have done it, you know? And we're going back and forth. And obviously Melvin had the hand injury. That's why he came out and he finished the day with 2 touchdowns. So I was of the mindset last week that maybe it's Javonte's time. Maybe we need to start giving him the ball more than Melvin. I thought Melvin ran like a guy who heard me and the rest of these yahoos saying that he needs to pack it up and head out of town. He ran like a dude who was upset and wanted to prove a point that, hey, I'm here to stay.
Yeah, well, I mean, in one of his interviews, this week. He said he would love to be here,
Yeah.
but he feels like the fans don't want him here. Okay?
What's that like? Can you imagine that as a player? Because, I mean, you kind of went through that stuff.
Absolutely. And it's terrible, right? I mean, in hindsight, it seems like the fans loved me, right? But in the moment, it seemed like they didn't want me. And Melvin feels the same. So I'm glad he ran angry. I'm glad he had, 111 yards, 4.6 yards a carry, a couple touchdowns, because he wants to put the fans on notice. But it seems like it doesn't matter what he does.
Yeah.
Because he continues to produce week in and week out. But no matter what he does, the fans just want Javonte. Now, Javonte's a baller. Don't get me wrong. But Melvin, I think he gives this team some more juice. But, I mean, they both do.
Yeah.
But I don't see how you can get rid of one right now.
No, and I'm kind of with you. I don't know that you can continue to pay Melvin $8 million a year moving forward.
Right, for sure.
I think that he needs to, one, be willing to take a haircut, and two, be willing to accept this 50-50 role, which he seems to be willing to do. But I go back to last year, and I think Melvin is still paying for the sins of being Melvin Gordon and taking Philip Lindsay's job.
That's what it was.
I still think he's paying for that. And Broncos country saw Philip Lindsay as the hometown kid and the guy that they loved, and Melvin came in, he took his carries, and eventually ran him out of town, right? Let's call it what it is. And now they feel like they've got another new shiny toy in Javonte Williams, and Melvin just keeps getting in the way yet again.
Yeah, but he's producing. I think so, a lot of times I feel like we got to look at things objectively, right? Not subjectively. Subjectively, with our feelings, we want Drew Lock, we want Javon. Look, but who is producing? Teddy's producing. Teddy has us over 500, right? For the first time this late in the season, a long time. Melvin is he's doing well. He's scoring touchdowns. He gets yards. I mean, I don't see the issue. But one thing about Broncos country that I've noticed, right, is they're emotional. I think that's a good and a bad thing because they're loyal, to the people that they're loyal to or that they love, and they're emotional about it. And so because of the whole Philip Lindsay thing, it's a bad taste in the mouth about Melvin. But Melvin is doing the team well, man. He's playing extremely well.
And it's crazy. You look at the numbers. So Melvin's got 159 carries for 716 yards. Javonte's got 155 carries for 739 yards. So there's 4 carries difference between them and 27 yards difference between them.
How can you say who's better? Right? They both do things, obviously, and respectively, Javonte he runs angrier, right? He breaks more tackles. He's exciting. You see his balance yesterday?
Yes.
As he was falling, and he did a spin move. Look, this kid is the future, right? But right now, Melvin is still extremely good for this offense, and I feel like you can't let him go.
Well, and especially if they're going to continue to do this style of offense where they're running the ball 39 times a game, you can't have one back doing that.
No, you can't. You can't. But also, if we do go out and get, one of these premier quarterbacks, as they say, the offense will change. So then at that point, Melvin, his role will change because Javonte is this team's future. We already know that. At that point, you have to tell Melvin to take you cut his pay in half. You could cut him to third.
I would try and knock him down to $5 million.
5.
I mean, I think 5's a reasonable number for Melvin and for the team.
It is.
If they could get him at 4, I think that's probably a hometown discount, if that's what you want to call it. But if you could get Melvin between $4 to $5 million a year, I think that's a good deal for everybody.
That is a good deal. And then he'll probably play that on, for 1 year.
Right.
If we have a premier quarterback, because obviously our offense will change. It'll not be the same offense we run with Teddy. And at that point, you just let him ride off, and he'll make an extra $5 million and go somewhere else in free agency.
Yeah, but what they're doing right now, I mean, you really do need both backs in order to do that. And I think that's part of the reason why this team, and I'm looking at the numbers here, so you go for 174 yards against the Lions. You go for 155 against the Chargers. You go for 217. Excuse me, those are passing numbers. Let me reverse that. You go for 184 yesterday against the Lions. You go for 154 on the ground against the Chiefs. You end up losing that game, but you're still dominating the game in large part because of the running game and certainly dominating the time possession. You go 147 against the Chargers. You got 190 against the Cowboys. I mean, they're effective when they're using both backs.
Yeah, I mean, they're controlling the clock, right? They're controlling the game. The defense is resting, right? The defense is resting. They're keeping the opposing offense off the field so the defense can recoup, go over plays, go over what happened last drive and what can we improve upon. So this is the strength of the team right now, the defense and the run game, right? Sound like old school, but hey, it's working. At the end of the day, football will forever be simple, okay? You control the clock, you play good defense, you get out the field on third down, you stop the run, and you run the ball well, you have a chance to win.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about coming into the season with an average quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater, maybe above average. That's the way you win football games, and that's obviously what the Broncos have been able to do as of late. Let's get into our report card. Our report card brought to you by Flock Homes. Smarter rental property ownership starts here. Visit flockhomes.com to learn more. Professor Marshall, who are we handing out grades to today?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the best safety in the NFL right now. Justin Simmons, number 31.
No doubt.
Who is sure-handed, who's a ball hawk. He might end up being, having – if he stays with the Broncos the rest of his career, he might end up breaking the interception record. Because he's sticky-fingered. They call him the sticky – I watched Home Alone yesterday, right?
Okay.
I'm a big kid.
That's a day.
I'm a big kid.
You go to the Broncos game, get some love from Broncos country, go home and watch Home Alone.
I'm a big kid, man. The sticky bandits, that's what they call themselves on Home Alone 2. The way I've never seen him drop an interception. I don't think so. At least me personally, my own eyes. But, look, he plays the run extremely well. He plays the pass. He's a leader. The money they gave him was necessary. Yeah. It was necessary for this team, for this defense. Justin Simmons gets an A for me, and I feel like he's been playing. He's been an A player all year in the past couple of years.
And I actually think he's getting better, right? And I feel like we're going to talk to him tonight on Xfinity Monday Live at 6:30 on CBS 4 for those of you in the Denver viewing area.
I like that. I like that. Okay.
And so we're going to talk to him tonight, but I feel like he's really feeling comfortable in Vic Fangio's defense, and that's why he's able to go out and make the type of plays that we saw him make yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest with you, he's a premier type of player. He's so athletic and so smooth.
Yes.
When you watch him, it's nothing's forced or does it. He's just so smooth, so quick. And I'm like, yo, this guy is special. We got a steal out of Boston College in the third round, man. A steal. And a lot of us, when I was playing, we hated the fact that they cut T.J. Ward. We hated it, okay? Because T.J. Ward was like the heart and soul of the defense. But I see what they were seeing.
Yeah.
They had a little foresight that we couldn't see.
It's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough when you're in that locker room and it's the guy next to you who's getting cut.
Absolutely.
No doubt about that. I'm going to hand out a grade to Draymond Jones, and I'm going to give him an A because 3 tackles, all 3 were TFLs, 2 of them were sacks, had the deflection off his face mask. He said that was probably the best series of his career, and I'm not going to argue with that, man.
Of his life.
He was everywhere, and I think Broncos country's kind of been waiting for that, right? And I think Draymond's been waiting for that too, if we're being honest. And so for him to have that type of production, I know that had to feel good yesterday. He was everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, he has all the physical tools to be great. It just depends on, can he put the work in? Can he translate? Can he put it together in practice? Can he watch the film and just continue to improve? So I mean, I like him. He looks great when he got the sack. Then the next play he got the TFL. And at first I thought he was hurt. Maybe a little dazed a little bit, but I'm like, yo, this kid is, maybe he's finding his own in his defense.
Yeah. Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully that continues to be the situation moving forward. One final grade, Broncos organization. They're getting an A. We give them a lot of grief for a lot of stuff that they do, and rightfully so. But yesterday they did a great job with everything that involved Demaryius Thomas and how they really kind of incorporated him into the game from start to finish, the memorial outside, the memorial on the field. Great job to Broncos country honoring a great man in that. You're getting an A for your work there yesterday. All right, we got to take another time out. When we come back, we'll take a trip around the league, tell you which team surprised us yesterday, and tell you why next week's game against the Bengals is going to tell us everything we need to know about who this Broncos team really is. All that and more coming up next right here on Upon Further Review with B-Marsh and Michael, presented as always by WinBet. Welcome back inside Upon Further Review with B-Marsh and Michael. Glad to have you with us for a special edition today, man. It's fun to do this in person.
It is. I like it.
I love it. I love it.
A lot better.
All right, let's take a trip around the league. Around the League brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on their most exciting lineup ever. Shop NissanUSA.com. And Brandon, the Raiders learned a very important lesson yesterday. You don't dance on the midfield logo prior to playing Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Hey, humble yourself, okay? Because y'all not like that, all right? I don't know who they thought they were. Right, they clearly thought they were somebody, but I think it's because they went into Kansas City last year and they beat them. And word on the street was, because I know a couple guys, that they rode the bus around the Chiefs Stadium, maybe on a couple times to let them know that we here. Right.
How'd that work out?
Y'all not like, it's not, come on, stop it. Know who you are, right? My trainer always tells me, know who you are, right? So you're not the team that you think you are, and you're not the team from last year, and even last year wasn't that great.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on, but they got blew out. First play was a what?
First play, fumble, scoop and score for the Chiefs. It was 35-3 at halftime of that game. It wasn't even competitive.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And literally, like, as soon as I saw that, I tweeted it, and I said, Chiefs by 1 million.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't understand.
By
when has that ever worked out?
Never.
You want to do it after the game? You want to plant your flag? Okay, like, I get that. I still think it's kind of dumb, but cool, whatever.
Yeah.
But before the game,
come on
a sunny day in Kansas City, it's not like it was raining and Mahomes was going to have to face the elements.
Exactly, no. But see, my thing is with them guys, you know, Rich Bisaccia, you know, I loved him. He was a good guy, really good, you know, person, but he's going to be gone.
Yeah.
You know, they talk about Derek Carr might need to be gone, but I feel like Derek Carr, I think he's like second in the league in passing right now. So you might have to you know, figure that one out. You know, Mike Mayock, what do you do with him? Yeah. But I feel like it was Gruden pulling the strings.
It was.
Drafting the guys. It wasn't. You got to give Mayock, you know, at least 1 year.
Yeah.
You know, to put together his own team, draft his own guys, hire his own coach. But it's ugly.
Well, and it's tough. I mean, obviously, there's turmoil behind the scenes with the Gruden firing and the emotions of the Henry Ruggs stuff, and still trying to make up for not having him on offense.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there in Vegas. But yeah, they were damn. I can't believe.
Oh Lord, I was When I heard about that, I was like, yes, it's like Chiefs by 1 million.
yeah, it's a wrap. The other thing that stood out to me yesterday: Tom Brady still owns the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, Lord.
Talk all you want about Aaron Rodgers owning the Bears, and yes, he does.
Yeah.
But Tom Brady, 33-3 all time against the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, a lot of that came in New England, and the Bills have to be sitting there like, okay, Tom Brady's gone. Thank goodness we don't have to deal with him every year.
Yeah.
Then they see him on the schedule, and they get to overtime, and Brady has his, like, what I think is going to be his MVP moment with the walk-off win as the Bucs win that one. Man, it's rough times right now in Buffalo.
Yeah, because like you said, you know, he left New England, so they were thinking, okay, now we're kings of this division.
Yeah.
And then they get beat by a Patriots team without Tom Brady that only threw three passes in the game. Okay? Then you go the next week and face Brady, and you think, okay, you know what? You know, the Bills have a good team still. They have a good roster. And then the walk, they can't get over it. I don't know. Brady needs to retire. You know, but the Brady effect is still real. And you know, Buffalo Bills are still little brother, seems like, to Brady and New England.
Yeah, both, even though they're no longer together.
Yeah.
Fantastic game on the slate tonight with the Rams and the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I think this is a very, very important game for the Rams if they want to contend for the division. I think they're still going to make the playoffs no matter what. They're sitting there at 8-4. But this is a really important game. And Brandon, man, hats off to Vance Joseph and what he's been able to do with that Cardinals defense right now. They are 10-2 and they are balling.
Yeah, shout out to Vance, man. You know, while he was in Denver, Broncos country was calling for his head. Okay, and rightfully so, you know, but we didn't have a quarterback. Look, the quarterback changes everything. It changes everything. But, you know, they called for his head. Now he finally, you know, got another opportunity in Arizona. And, you know, he might get another opportunity, as you told me during the break. He might get another opportunity as a head coach because of how well his defense is playing. They called him a leader of men when they hired him. I remember reading that press clip. They called him a leader of men when we hired him. So he's clearly still that. He's just improved his scheme, you know. So shout out to them. But the Rams, they have to win this one. Because they dropped a couple straight. Then they beat Jacksonville, which is whatever. But, you know, they need to be the contender. They have to prove their worth because, you know, they was riding high. People like, oh, Rams, they got Odell, they got Vaughn, they got, you know, Aaron Donald. But, look, none of that matters, you know, if they continue to lose. So they got to get it done.
Yeah, I think it's an important game tonight, especially considering that the Cardinals already beat the Rams earlier this season. You mentioned Vance Joseph. I think that he will get another head coaching job. I think that he deserves another head coaching job, and I think that he will take what he did in Denver and learn from that. And we've seen that across the league, right? Guys don't always hit it on the first time because it's a major jump going from being a coordinator to being a head coach, and now all of a sudden you've got to deal with stuff that you're not used to dealing with. You don't have a quarterback in Vance Joseph's case. I think that he will get another win. Looking closer to home, what do you think the next couple of games will do for Vic Fangio and his status as head coach of the Broncos?
You know, I mean, he's kept, I'm going to say us because, you know. He's kept us competitive. Right? You know, I think he finally got a quarterback in there that took care of the football. You know, him and Drew Lock last year, that marriage, it just didn't really work out. He wasn't who they thought he was. So, the fact that, okay, he has a bridge quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater, and we're still sitting above 500, still in the playoff hunt, I think that speaks volume. So I think, depending on how the next, 4 games go, I think you got to consider bringing them back one more time because, if we go and get that premier quarterback, things could be different because his defense is elite.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, his defense is great. And, having us at 7-6 and to be honest, I didn't even think that we would be here.
Right.
I'm going to be honest with you. I had a group
Most
chat with
people didn't.
No
we
way.
We were talking a couple weeks ago like it's a wrap.
Yeah, it's a wrap. We're going to be like 5-11 or 5-12. We got 17 games now. 6-11. But now we're 7-6. So I'm like, okay, well, but they have to finish strong. So I think you give Vic one more chance, man. I feel it.
I think that it depends on how this season finishes. Even if they don't make the playoffs, if they play well and if they're competitive, and if it's clear that they haven't quit on him and that they're still responding to coaching, I think that there's a really good chance that they bring him back.
Yeah, and I think it's warranted. I think he deserves it because of the improvements he made from first year, the second year, and now his third year as a head coach. He's really improved the team. So I think you've got to give him another chance. And he wasn't playing around. He wasn't saying, look, let's try Drew Lock again, let's develop. No. Okay, I got a family to feed.
Right.
I'm not putting my family. Right.
Teddy, you got one leg, get up.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so I do think it depends on how this season finishes as to whether or not Vance Joseph will be back and whether or not they continue to run the ball on offense. I get the feeling that he told Pat Shurmur, continue to run the football. Continue to run the football, and that has paid dividends. And I think that that's part of being a head coach is coaching your coaches and coaching your assistants and your coordinators and telling them what to do. And so I think he's done a good job of that as of late. We'll see if that continues next week. All right, time for our sneak peek brought to you by UC Health with personalized care and locations across Colorado. UC Health is here for you no matter where your story takes you. UC Health, live extraordinary. Got the Bengals coming into town. This team is certainly beatable, and they have proven that. They started the year really hot at 5-2. They've lost 4 of their last 6. They've lost 2 straight. I was sitting here a couple weeks ago like, that Bengals game, that's not going to be a winnable game. And now all of a sudden it is because you've got 2 teams trending in opposite directions. The key to me, Brandon, is going to be can they contain Joe Mixon? In Cincinnati's 7 wins, he's averaging more than 100 yards per game. In their 6 losses, he's averaging fewer than 60 yards per ground on the game. I look at that as the biggest key defensively for them going into next week.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. This game makes me nervous. It makes me nervous because, the Bengals have a crazy amount of weapons, receivers, running backs, tight end, Joe Burrow, right? Their offense is very potent, okay? Now, the defense is good as well. I think they lost a linebacker or 2, but at the end of the day, they're still a solid defense. They're not giving up crazy amount of points. They did a couple times, right, to the Browns and whatever, but at the end of the day, this team is still dangerous, right? And they're competitive each and every game. They're competitive against the good teams as well, as well as they beat the bad teams. So, this game makes me nervous. I think we have to put up points. We have to control the clock. Like you said, we got to continue with the same recipe. Javonte and Melvin. I think continue with that same recipe. Teddy got to make some big time throws, right? Got to get Tim and Cortland really involved, Jerry Jeudy really involved because they're kind of middle of the pack right now with yards, and I get that. It's just not the offense right now. But the game makes me a little nervous. But, I think we can get it done, though.
Yeah, no, I can totally see how it makes you nervous. And to me, this is a critical game because if the Broncos want to be the team that they have told us that they are, where they want to compete for a playoff spot, you lose this game, basically you're out. Right? You may be mathematically still involved, but basically you're out based on the tiebreakers and who you've lost to and who's ahead of you in the standings. Both teams come in at 7-6. If they want to be the team that they think they can be, they have to go out at home and beat the Bengals.
We have to have it. And like you said, if this can be a defining moment of the season, right? And of Vic Fangio's, if he stays or not, right? If you go out and lay an egg, you're going to look at him sideways. Like, okay, is this really the guy? And then you're going to look at Teddy Bridgewater. Is this really the guy? Do we bring him back next year? Which I doubt they will anyway, unless they have to, right? But this game it's a great game, and they have the Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, that trio of receivers. Look, Kyle Fuller, Patrick Surtain, all right, Darby, they all got to be on it,
Yeah.
okay? Because them guys can separate and they can get open.
That evil genius of Vic Fangio has to come through this week. We've seen it come through a couple times, but it's got to come through, and we need some consistency out of the Broncos.
Yeah.
I mean, as Broncos fans, that's what you're asking for, right? Is some consistency. You haven't had that really all season long, so we will see if they can do that on Sunday. Hey, that is going to do it for us here on Upon Further Review of B-Marsh and Michael. This was so much fun, man.
Yeah,
Love having you in the studio.
This
was a blast. Thank you for hanging out with us. We will be back with you next Monday to recap whatever happens out at Mile High between the Broncos and the Bengals. Until then, take care, stay safe, and we will talk to you next week. Thanks so much for tuning in to Upon Further Review of B-Marsh and Michael, presented by Wyndham.